Hello, everyone. My name is Cole Muggeridge, and welcome back to another episode of Mindset Mondays. Sorry I haven't uploaded in the last 2 weeks. Had a lot of stuff personally going on, like starting a new semester at university, my final semester, by the way. Soon I'll have a psych degree at CBU. Working, gym, etc. Life was busy. I didn't make time for this, and I apologize for that. That out of the way. On today's episode, I have a few different things I wanted to talk about. The first thing I wanted to talk about is being vulnerable. So, some things happened in my personal life that I won't disclose, but, the challenge came and I had to grow to overcome it. And I remember back when it all started, I wanted to do it all alone, as I usually do, the hyper individualism as a means of coping. So, it turns out all of that is just control issues. So, something I've been using as a tool is actually I've been using ChatGPT. So, I've been using that as kind of like a source for something to bounce my thoughts off from a non-biased perspective. So I'll give it some stories. Typically, they're in a similar sense of what I'm going through, but not exactly. And then I'll ask, like, non-biasedly, what's going on here? What's the red flag? Am I the red flag? Are they the red flag? Etc. But essentially, through all of this, what I learned from it was that I have a control issue. So the hyper-individualism comes in the wanting to push people away, the avoidance. I said in a previous episode, I'm fearful, avoidant attachment style, working on it. It all comes from wanting to control and not wanting to get hurt. So, I'm a big fan of Shawn Mendes. He's my favorite artist, and he uploads something called the Clubhouse Sessions, which are basically the raw recordings of his new album, Shawn. And I'll leave it in the description, but this song I'm talking about here, it's called Heavy. And basically, he sums this song up as like it was a release for him to finally let the people around him that love him in to help out with his life. Because he spoke about how, in a similar manner to me, and maybe even you, the listener, it all gets to be a lot when it's all on your shoulders. So, something I started practicing, because the first time I listened to the video, I didn't really get it. I was like, okay, I'm more here for the song. But the more I listened to it, the more I kind of thought, like, am I really letting the people in that can help me and want to help me? Am I really letting them help me? And I learned I'm not. I learned I was very deflective and I didn't let them take care of me. So it wasn't until I really worked on letting those walls down and letting the people that were around, such as my best friend, his girlfriend, some family members, and some other people. It wasn't until I really worked on letting those walls down and really letting them love on me and take care of me and be there for me that things through that period started to change. I went through a really bad period of like anger and drinking and lashing out and looking for fights because I was holding all of this hurt inside of me and I insisted on doing it alone. So manifested in a bad way. But I once I let those walls down and fully acknowledged my hurt, like where it was and what exactly it was, which it happened to be a lot of grief in this context. I really started to see some changes in my life. I started to build more authentic connections and get closer with the people I already thought I was closest to, which is really nice. And it's honestly one of the big things we're looking for in life. It's intimacy and connection. So after, learning to be vulnerable and letting people in, the next thing I wanted to talk about was embracing your individuality. So this is something that I think kind of comes to you as you get older, but you kind of stop caring what other people think and you start getting a knack for the company that you want to keep around because ultimately you become who you surround yourself with. And you start realizing that your life, like yours, particularly, like it's so hyper specific and individualized and socialized and all these big fancy words you want to use to describe uniquely yours. Like no one is you, no one will ever be you. Even if you are similar to me, I feel like on the inside, an amalgamation of all my favorite media sources or influences, etc. It's still that combination in every little thing. It's still uniquely you. So something I started doing also recently, well, actually, I wouldn't say recently. This is something I've stood for probably the last 3 years. It's live your own life authentically and it's yours, I don't know how to take this concept because it's really, I'll tell you what, I'll leave a link in the description. I did a podcast with my buddy Aaron Lenahan. He's a coach. He's a life coach. I did a podcast with him a few years back. I'll leave a link to that in the description. And we talk a lot about embracing your individuality. I think that's a really good tool for, a really good resource for what I'm trying to convey here, because we go into super depth about it. But if I had to summarize it, it's you're you. No one will ever be you ever again. You'll never be you ever again. Embrace the things that are yours and what makes you you, So if you like to go for walks and you like to listen to, classical music, or maybe, I don't know, Zelda music, that's what I like to do. Whatever's like different or unique about you, don't be afraid to own that, because that's what makes you you. And don't have shame for being different and for being an individual. Because if anything's in this world, like, the NPC joke, like, we're all becoming so mundane. Like, we're all losing our color because we're trying to fit in these boxes. And I know it's so cliche, but seriously, like, own your life for you. And that doesn't mean be a dick and like tell everyone like you're the best, or like not be open to try new things. But it's okay to just be you, like, you don't have to strive to be something greater all the time, because that greatness is already within you. And as long as you love and take care of yourself and follow that path you're supposed to go on, you'll end up where you're supposed to be, So in the meantime, like, you can help expedite that by just being you, right from the core, letting it out. And that kind of ties nicely into the last thing I wanted to talk about today, which is take your time. Not everything needs to be rushed. Not everything needs to be answered right away. I'll tell you, as someone who about to get a university degree, so I'm not exactly a like super whiz or super intelligent, but I'm intelligent enough. Getting the answers doesn't change anything. Once you're there, you don't, like, I have a wealth of psychology knowledge now. It's my practice, it's my discipline, it's like what I know, it's how I support the people in my life, it's what I plan on doing for work. It doesn't magically fix you having the answers. A lot more of what the psychology is like understanding. And with understanding, you have a little bit more of that control I talked about earlier to like try to manipulate things. But like, take your time to get to know yourself, that like that individuality, like, it all kind of ties together nicely. Like, it's like, take your time, take a deep breath. If you're in a fight, take a step back, reevaluate it, choose love. Like, take it easy, take your time, don't rush things. If you're doing a thing that you like watching a show, maybe watch 2 or 3 episodes. You don't got to binge it. If you're playing a game, play for like an hour or two at once, so that while you're walking or going throughout your day, like, you kind of stretched it out. Like, you can think about it a little bit more. You can look forward to it. You can feel that passion. You're a little bit more excited. You're not overindulging, That's also kind of like a note to self thing. So yeah, guys, to sum up what I was talking about here today, it's be vulnerable, let people in, choose love, let the walls down, do what you need to do to allow yourself to be loved, because we talk about a lot, like, how to give love. This is, if you watch the Shawn Mendes video, he's directly quoting him. We always teach people how to give love, but we never tell people how to accept love, And if you think that that's something you've never really probed in your mind, I urge you to try to take a peek at that idea. Like, do I really accept love? Do I let people help me? Embracing your individuality. What's you is you and will never be you again. That's your charisma. That's your strength. That's everything. If you're just trying to be like someone else, or like, it's okay to have inspirations, but if you're just trying to be someone else your whole life, like, you're missing the point. At the end of the day, at the end of the roads, like, when you're dead, thinking back, you'll be like, man, I wish I was me. You don't want that. You're lucky enough that, like, even if it's just this weird YouTube video, like, that you have some kind of source in your life to like give you that big piece early. It's about you. It's always been about you, and it always will be about you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like we said earlier, it's not about being a selfish jerk. It's about just being you. And take your time. Slow down. The world's not going to burn down tomorrow, even though it kind of feels like it sometimes. One day at a time, one thing at a time, and don't forget to enjoy the ride, because life goes by so quickly. If you don't stop, look around, you might miss it. With that, take care of yourself. We'll chat again soon.